Hello there, and many thanks for joining us on Superscreen News at 6, broadcasting to you live from Lagos. I am Adinike Owoye Ajiboye. Some armed men have allegedly stormed the Senate chamber today, causing commotion and raising fierce tension in the entire National Assembly. Reports say the unknown gunmen who came in with suspended Senator Ovie Omoagege overpowered security men and forcefully took away the maze. Meanwhile, the Nigerian police have arrested Senator Ovie Omoagege immediately after the plenary. The lawmaker, who was suspended by the Senate for 90 days, was accused of leading the armed men who stormed the chamber and snatched the maze while plenary was on. After the plenary, policemen ushered Omoagege from the door of the chamber into a waiting pickup van. While police were taking him to the pickup van, a journalist sought to know why he acted in that manner.
Can you explain what these two police officers are doing?
Well, you have to ask them, you know. I am a senator. This commissioner of police and DPO. Are you not under arrest?
Sir, what are you doing? What are you doing in the Senate? Sir, what are you doing?
In a related development, Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu has praised the resilience of the Senate regardless of the threats posed by thugs who stormed the premises of the National Assembly in Abuja. Ekweremadu, who said this on the floor of the House, charged the Nigerian Police Force and the State Security Service to retrieve the maze which was taken by the thugs in 24 hours, a decision that was unanimously agreed by the House.
They passed through this entrance, passed through all the gates, and left the National Assembly with that mess. They attempted kidnapping 2 of our senators. They were eventually left. But we decided that we will not be intimidated by any circumstance. We will stand by our democracy. We will defend our democracy. It is an affront on democracy. It's an affront on the Senate. It's an affront on the National Assembly. It's an affront on our parliament. But we are going to stand together to ensure that we'll continue the assignment Nigerians gave us to represent them. So we are giving the Inspector General of Police and the Director SSS to recover our mess within 24 hours.
And now, Amnesty International has condemned the reaction of the police on the protests by members of the Islamic Movement of Nigeria, IMN, also known as Shiites. In a statement signed by the Director, Amnesty International Nigeria, Osai Ojigo, the organization said the crackdown on unarmed protesters put lives at risk. According to the statement, the iron first applied against the protesters was unnecessary and there is no excuse for the use of live bullets, water cannon and tear gas. You will recall that the Nigerian police force and members of a religious sect clashed in Abuja over the group's demand for the release of Shiite leader Ibrahim el-Zakzaki. The Senate has urged President Muhammadu Buhari to seek help from foreign countries in the fight against insecurity. Senator Adokwe and other lawmakers expressed concerns about the spate of killings resulting from apparent lack of inadequate security of lives and properties. As President Muhammadu Buhari prepares to visit the United States President Donald Trump on April 30 to discuss issues relating to fighting terrorism and economic growth, the Senate and the plenary urged President Buhari to seek help from foreign countries to restore normalcy at troubled regions of the nation. Moving the point of order, Senator Suleiman Adokwe drew the Senate's attention to the crisis in the southern district of Nasarawa State, where armed militia are occupying 4 out of 5 local government areas, and the spate of killings caused by inadequate security, a view corroborated by other senators.
It is very, very sad that in a country such as Nigeria, with several arms of the armed forces, a whole senatorial district will go on punished by militia for 4 days running with no action coming from government. This is a sad commentary. It is even with a lot of impunity that yesterday we all woke up to see that the entire city of Abuja was under siege. This country is gradually falling into anarchy.
This country is becoming a state without control. It's becoming a state that is experiencing anarchy. It is a state in which we are seeing ethnic cleansing. And when statements like this are made by very senior nationalists, many people try to trivialize it.
Let it be on record that the way we've conducted ourselves is guaranteed that democracy will not survive. People are dying, people are losing their jobs, democracy is being destroyed, and we are all watching riots all over the streets. People are watching, and I guarantee you, if we do not stop and fix our problem, they will strike.
While Senator Solomon Adiola called for the sack of service chiefs, Deputy Senate President Ike Ikerimadu insists on international assistance as solution to the nation's state of insecurity.
All the service chiefs and head of security agency should immediately be sacked. There's no two ways about this. I believe these people have lounged enough. I believe they have exhausted all ideas within them. I believe what is deposited in them over the years as security experts and everything has been exhausted. The president needs a fresh idea as regarding the security situation of this country. And this current leadership of security heads cannot give him that fresh ideas. They have to go. If we must put an end to what is happening.
The time has come for us to seek help from other countries, as some people have suggested here. We should not be ashamed to ask for help. We should not. The president met with the UK Prime Minister, and she was of the opinion that Britain will be able to help us security-wise. Americans are offering to help. We should not be reluctant to come out openly and say we need help. Because what we have now is a global village. We cannot be asking people to come to Nigeria and invest their monies here. They will not.
As Nigeria continues to battle herdsman-farmers crisis and other related security issues, one can only hope the solution will come very soon. The House of Representatives has asked the executive arm of government to secure the release of the remaining 113 Chibok schoolgirls and the last Dapchi schoolgirl, Lee, still in captivity. Members were angry at as they debated a motion on the fate of the Chibok girls, saying that it was embarrassing that 4 years on, the government was unable to rescue them from Boko Haram. The House also raised concerns over claims that the federal government had so far brought for $160 million, equivalent of 165 billion naira worth of military hardware from a U.S. firm without appropriation by the National Assembly. Our former secretary to the government of the Federation, Ulufalaye, says the President Buhari-led administration has not performed well, adding that he was expecting him not to seek re-election in 2019. Falaye disclosed this to journalists after he paid a private visit to former President Olusegun Obasanjo at the Obasanjo Presidential Library in Abeokuta, Ogun State. He said the current administration had failed in its primary responsibility of protecting lives and property, arguing that Nigerians were being slaughtered daily and government could not stop the ugly trend. Falaye, who's the chairman of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, said every right-thinking Nigerian would support Obasanjo's coalition in order to achieve a progressive change in the country. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has warned staff against electoral malpractices ahead of the 2019 general elections. Chairman of the Commission, Mahmoud Yakubu, gave the warning at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja during the swearing-in of 7 newly appointed resident electoral commissioners.
Let me therefore congratulate you on your appointment and swearing in. As I told the resident electoral commissioner sworn in earlier, you will also be responsible for the implementation of the Commission's policies. In doing so, you will exercise supervisory control over personnel, resources, as well as the legal and administrative processes in the states to which you are posted. You will also interact with various stakeholders. As election managers, you must maintain the required openness and consultation. At the same time, you must be very firm and courageous on the side of the law, as well as our regulations and guidelines at all times as required of an unbiased umpire. As resident electoral commissioners, you can be posted to any part of the country at any time the exigencies of service require. But for now, you will be posted to states within your geopolitical zones, but none of you will ever serve in your state of origin throughout your tenure.
Told the new entrants that they will be responsible for the implementation of the Commission's policies, adding that they will exercise supervisory control over personnel and resources. And one of the inductees, Segun Ogbaje, who spoke on the temptations and the line of duty, urged INEC staff to uphold the truth in defense of the nation's democracy. The new commissioners inducted are Baba Abba Yusuf, Segun Agbaje, and Usman Abdurrahman. Others are Yahya Bello, Emmanuel Alex Hart, Mohammed Magaji Ibrahim, and Cyril Omoruba. The Nigerian army has declared 5 suspects wanted over the killings in Taraba State. The Director of Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Texas Chukwu, who discussed this, urged the public to give information that would lead to the suspect's arrest. According to him, those that had been declared wanted are Tanko Dantayi, Kurusi Danladi, Chindo Big Olumba, and Chairman Boko. He said the decision to declare them wanted was in line with the ongoing military exercise codenamed I Am Akpatuwa in Taraba State and for the alleged roles and the killings in Takum local government area of the state, in particular in Taraba in general. You're still watching Superscreen News at 6. We'll take a short break here, and while we return, we'll bring you more news to stay. Many things for staying with us now in business world. A federal high court in Abuja has halted the planned sale of the troubled telecommunications firm and now 9 Mobile following opposition to move by some aggrieved shareholders. The shareholders AFD and in Ventures Limited and Adebia Nigeria Limited, who claimed to be major investors, said they were left out in the firm's decision making and demanded a refund of their invested funds estimated at $43 billion. To this effect, they have filed a suit before the Federal High Court in Abuja. On April 17, Justice Binta Nyako, after hearing the plaintiff's lawyer, Mahmood Magiji, moved an ex parte motion and ruled that an order is made for the maintenance of status quo. Justice Nyako, who said the defendants ought to be heard, ordered that the case be adjourned till May 14 for mention. The federal government has announced its readiness to issue over 2,000 land titles to investors across the country in order to enable them raise investable funds. The Minister of State One for Power, Works and Housing, Mustafa Shihuri, who disclosed this in Abuja, said the federal government was working to establish a nationwide land depository that would enable investors to make quick investment decisions. Shehuri also stressed that over 1,500 secondary land transactions on its land had been processed, adding that this had impacted on Nigeria's economy positively. He maintained that property registration was one of the 13 criteria set by the World Bank for determining the competitiveness of a country's business environment to investors. The ongoing probe of banks that are collecting revenues from the government have failed to remit 74.1 billion naira into the Federation account. The Commission was also issued demand notices to the banks for another 16.4 billion naira that has yet to be recovered from the banks appointed to collect revenues on behalf of government agencies that generate revenues. However, the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission RMAFC said a total of 57.7 billion naira had so far been recovered. The acting chairman Umar Ghana, who discussed this to journalists in Abuja, said while 48.7 billion naira of the recovered money had been paid into the Federation account, 9.07 billion naira relating to withholding tax on dividend only had been released to the benefiting states boards of internal revenue. And that's it in business world. We'll take another short break. And when we return, we'll bring you news from foreign scene and sports. So join us again.